In the U.S. state of Texas, 9 people, including the gunman, have been killed in a shooting at a shopping center. It happened northeast of the city of Dallas. Panicked shoppers ran for cover as a man stepped out and opened fire. Several people have been hospitalized, some of them children. The shooter, who authorities believe acted alone, was killed by a police officer. This is the latest in a spate of mass killings across the United States. A warning, you may find some images in this next report distressing.
Sounds of gunfire sent panicked shoppers running for their lives. People who began their day with a plan to go shopping took their last breaths on a sidewalk outside of a shopping mall. Witnesses say a gunman stepped out of a car and began shooting.
Out of nowhere, heard about like 10 pops go off, and I look at the customer next to me. I was like, was that gunshots? And he was like, no, it's probably just construction or something. And then like heard 10, 15 more shots go off. And so I ran to the front of the store and we're like, no, that's shooting. And we see the guy. There's this guy dressed in all black, wearing a vest, has an assault rifle, and he's just shooting at people.
Police responded quickly, but not before many lay dead, and several people were critically injured, some of them children.
At 3:36, our officer was at Allen Premium Outlets on an unrelated call. He heard gunshots, located the gunshot, located the shooter, neutralized the shooter, neutralized the threat. We believe at this point that the shooter acted alone.
One of the most gun-friendly states in the U.S., Texas recently made it legal for most people over 21 to openly carry a handgun without a permit. Stunned shoppers were made to leave the mall with their hands up, proving they were not a threat.
I'm gonna grab this from you.
A scene that's become routine, and a nation unable to find a way out of a pattern that means death at the hands of a stranger can come at any time.
Let's get more on this now from our correspondent, Amy Nassif in Washington, D.C. Amy, what more can you tell us?
Well, witnesses described a harrowing scene. They said that the suspect seemed to be dressed in black combat gear, carrying a rifle, and shooting indiscriminately at passers-by. So an impersonal act of violence here. Widespread panic at the mall. Hundreds of people were evacuated by law enforcement from that mall. This is in Allen, Texas, just north of Dallas, which is one of the most populated areas in the United States. It seems that a single police officer who was on the scene for an unrelated reason heard the gunshots and responded and said that he neutralized the suspects. The suspect has been killed. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas called it an unspeakable tragedy.
I mean, as you well know, Texas has some of the most relaxed gun laws in the country. This is the third mass shooting in recent weeks. Is this likely to put some pressure on the governor or at least the legislature in Texas to change some laws?
There certainly will be pressure here. The Republicans in Texas have been under pressure for quite some time, especially since Uvalde, the mass shooting that happened just almost a year ago now, where over 20 people were killed. But this is unlikely, I believe, to have any effect on the Republicans. Actually, the opposite. Legislation, gun rules, gun rights in Texas have become more liberal over the past few years after mass shootings. Now, after a mass shooting in 2020, Republicans actually made it easier to open carry. You don't even have to have a license to carry a rifle or a handgun now in Texas openly. And after the Uvalde shooting, when Governor Abbott was challenged and when there was demands to make it harder to purchase an assault rifle, he said that this would be unconstitutional. So despite him calling this a tragedy, I don't believe that he will be pushed in the direction of more gun legislation.
I mean, just very quickly, are Americans becoming numb to these shootings? You read about them, you see them literally, it seems, almost every week.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. When somebody says now the Texas mass shooting, we don't know which one they're talking about. Just last week, there was a manhunt for someone who killed 5 people in Texas, also with a rifle. So this is something that not only getting numb to it. Even people who are trying to resist getting numb, they just lose track of how often these incidents occur.
That is Amin Esif, DW's correspondent in the U.S. Capitol. Many thanks.